I'm lucky enough to have Mr. Matthew Monk here. And Matthew Monk, you are a breakfast announcer.
Correct, that's right, Loggy. I've been in and out of radio for about 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years in the radio industry. Well, what first inspired you to get into radio?
Well, it was by chance a little bit. I was doing a bit of stand-up comedy and always liked to entertain and those sort of things, but never really thought I'd get the opportunity to do it on radio. And then a gentleman gave me an opportunity here. So Warrnambool's very first FM station, I started on breakfast. And, yeah, I've sort of done stints here and there ever since.
And what's involved in becoming a breakfast announcer? Are there any study requirements or anything like that?
Look, Melbourne Radio School and things like that obviously provide people with the right channels or pathways, so to speak. I guess in my case it was more taking someone with a personality and putting on radio. So I've probably learnt on the job a fair bit.
And you work in a team environment?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Very important. And any business or any occupation, you're as good as those around you. So I'm very lucky to have a very good team around me.
But I would have been nervous at first getting into the radio industry. So what tips did you have to overcome your nerves?
Overcoming nerves is a good one. I think just try and be yourself. Whatever you do, because if you're not being yourself, chances are you won't enjoy what you do.
Yep.
So in my case, that was quite easy because, on-air announcing, particularly a breakfast show, you're generally telling stories and just having a lot of fun. So whatever you choose to do, make sure you're comfortable with who you are doing it.
Very good. And what's the best and the worst thing about being a breakfast announcer?
No doubt the worst thing is early starts.
Yep.
Everyone can relate to that who's done a breakfast show. But I think the best thing is you have the opportunity to entertain people. So, when someone mentions to you that, they heard, the show talk about this or that, or they had a chuckle about this, I mean, that's what you do it for.
Matthew, where did you go to school and how was school for you?
I went to Panmure Primary School, pardon me, and then Warrnambool College. And school was great for me. I think, you often hear school days are the best days of your life, and I couldn't question that. I probably didn't apply myself that well in my VCE years. But, yeah, past year 12, and it was all good.
And subject choice, did that matter to you at school?
It probably should have, but
Yep.
I think my subject choices probably indicated that either would be a publican or a radio announcer, and I'm both. So I didn't have a real direct pathway out of year 12, put it that way.
But you got there anyway. And was there anyone there that influenced you during school, was a role model to you?
Yeah, very much so. A lady called Mary Pendergast was very much that person and probably encouraged me to follow my dreams and what I'm good at. I think the key to life, in my opinion, is finding out what you enjoy doing and then trying to be employed doing it because, as they say, or Confucius said, if you love your job, you won't work a day of your life.
Exactly. But look, which is good for stress and things like that, obviously.
Yeah.
But stress, school, exams, all those sort of things. How did you get around stress?
I know stress is one that it's taken me a long time to deal with, but I think you just got to be logical when you're dealing with stress. So rather than panic, you need to get organised. So if that means studying properly or putting in the right time pre-exam or pre-something in your job, you got to do it. Don't just try and do it all at once.
If someone came up to you and said, Monkey, I want to be a breakfast announcer like you, what advice would you give them?
I'd say don't, because I'm not getting paid enough as it is and I can't share the wealth. No, I would say that's fantastic. And I think the key to a lot of things is experience. A lot of people I meet, doesn't matter if it's a radio announcer or a tractor driver or a chemist or whatever, they don't go out and seek opportunities to get what I would call free work experience. So knock down doors, go and sit in on programs, do everything you can and immerse yourself in it to see if you really like it first.
And if anyone's thinking of leaving school prior to finishing their year 12 or the equivalent thereof, what key message would you tell students?
I've got no problem with people leaving pre-year 12, but I'm very adamant about you need to make sure this is exactly what you want to do, because the ability to finish year 12 and have that, ticked off that box is crucial, particularly if you're not sure what you want to do. Some people will go 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or even 10 years after school and still not know. So no point leaving unless you're going to something that is absolutely rock solid, i.e. a gun golfer or, maybe a trade or something. But if you're not sure, stay for year 12 most certainly.
Thank you very much for your time, Matthew Monk.